On January 1, 2025, Ukraine's 5-year transit agreement with Russia's state-owned oil and gas company Gazprom will expire, ending the supply route that delivers Siberian natural gas to Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and Austria. This will effectively shut down a major pathway for Russian gas into Europe. However, even before this deadline, Gazprom abruptly halted gas sales to Austria last week. This followed a decision by Austrian oil and gas company OMV to stop payments to Gazprom to offset a $230 million arbitration award granted by the International Chamber of Commerce over a previous supply cutoff. In 2022, Russia had already cut most of its natural gas supplies to Europe, citing payment disputes in rubles. European leaders interpreted this as energy blackmail in response to their support for Ukraine against the Russian invasion. As a result, European governments scrambled to secure alternative, though more expensive, supplies, primarily liquefied natural gas, LNG, from the US and Qatar. Austria, which had relied on Russia for up to 98% of its gas supply until December 2022, faced significant challenges in this shift, according to Energy Minister Leonor Gewessler. Ukraine has firmly stated it will not extend the transit agreement with Gazprom beyond January 2025, aiming to cut off a revenue source that Kyiv claims Russia uses to finance its war efforts. Despite Russia expressing readiness to continue the deal and urging European nations to persuade Ukraine otherwise, Kyiv remains resolute. Before Russia's invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Russian natural gas was a cornerstone of European energy security. The invasion disrupted this flow, with Moscow temporarily cutting off 80 billion cubic meters of gas to Europe, significantly impacting the continent's economy. According to an International Monetary Fund analysis, the Russian gas cutoff significantly impacted Europe's economy, with the effects still felt in 2024. Austria's reliance on Russian gas dates back to the Cold War, making it one of the first Western countries to import gas from the Soviet Union in 1968. The Baumgarten hub near the Slovakian border has long facilitated these deliveries via Ukraine. However, this long-standing relationship is set to end early next year, when the contract between Russian Gazprom and Ukraine's OMV expires. Facing uncertainty over Russian gas supplies, Austria has proactively sought alternative sources, including Turkey and Norway. Olga Kakova, Deputy Director for European Energy Security at the Atlantic Council, highlighted that countries must adapt to this change, noting that Turkey currently operates the only alternative pipeline for Russian gas bound for Europe. Some EU countries have responded more decisively than others. Germany and the Czech Republic, for example, quickly invested in liquefied natural gas, LNG infrastructure. Meanwhile, landlocked nations like the Czech Republic are actively exploring alternative supply routes, while others, such as Hungary, have deepened their dependence on Russian gas. Slovakia and Austria have also increased their imports from Russia despite the ongoing geopolitical challenges. Christoph Halser, a gas and LNG analyst at Rystad Energy, pointed out that maintaining Russian gas deliveries through Ukraine remains a contentious issue within the EU. However, he expressed confidence in Europe's political determination and logistical capacity to reduce reliance on this transit route in the near future. Before Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, it supplied around 40% of the EU's gas needs. According to the annual State of the EU Energy Union report, while Russian gas consumption has dropped significantly from 150 billion cubic meters, about 45% of all imports pre-invasion, to just 18% by mid-2024, Russia remains Europe's second-largest supplier after Norway. This figure still slightly exceeds the total LNG imports from the US. Despite the substantial decline in pipeline deliveries since the war began, the EU continues to rely on Russia for nearly one-fifth of its gas. When asked about the possibility of including Russian gas in further sanctions, Energy Commissioner Kadri Simpson remained non-committal. Moscow has managed to offset some of the losses in pipeline exports by increasing LNG shipments to Europe via sea, road, and rail. As a result, Russia's share of European LNG imports has risen from 15% to 19%. However, any further expansion seems unlikely due to ongoing Western sanctions and infrastructure limitations. Recently, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen discussed LNG supply options with U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, highlighting the importance of diversifying away from Russian gas. LNG was one of the topics we touched upon, she told reporters, noting that the EU still receives a significant amount of LNG from Russia. Why not replace it with American LNG, which is cheaper and helps lower our energy prices? This was a key point raised during recent discussions on European energy security. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin last Friday, their first conversation in nearly 2 years. European leaders are keenly watching for potential shifts in U.S. policy, especially regarding Donald Trump's stance on ending the largest European conflict since World War II. According to the Kremlin, Putin emphasized that Russia has consistently honored its contractual obligations for energy supplies and remains open to mutually beneficial cooperation if Germany is interested. Historically, Russia's energy relationship with Germany dates back to the discovery of major Siberian gas deposits after World War II, which laid the foundation for extensive gas exports to Europe's largest economy. However, the war in Ukraine and infrastructure disruptions, such as pipeline explosions, have severely damaged this long-standing connection, impacting both economies. At its peak, Russia supplied 40% of Europe's gas, but since 2022, Gazprom has lost significant market share to Norway, the United States, and Qatar. Despite this decline, Russia still managed to export about 15 billion cubic meters of gas via Ukraine in 2023, representing just 8% of the peak flows from 2018-2019. In 2023, the Ukrainian transit route met 65% of gas demand in Austria and neighboring countries like Hungary and Slovakia. If Austria's supplies end, only Hungary and Slovakia will continue to receive Russian gas, primarily through a pipeline running through Turkey. Other routes have faced setbacks too. The Yamal-Europe pipeline through Belarus was closed following a dispute, and Russia blamed the US and the UK for the Nord Stream pipeline explosions under the Baltic Sea allegations. Both NATO ons have denied. Meanwhile, reports suggest Ukrainian officials may have been involved in the attack, though Ukraine denies these claims. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on critical international topics.